Hello, bookworms, bibliophiles, and lovers of all things literature, and welcome to the next chapter of the Braless Book Guild podcast, where we discard our bras and defy the censorship to talk about books both published and unpublished. We are your hosts. I'm Jenna. This is Megan.
Hello.
And Marissa. I went out of order today.
Hello, yes, I'm Marissa, and you just pulled a Marissa.
I did pull a Marissa, going completely out of order for fun.
I had a moment where I was like, that's me.
That's me, wait.
Like, that didn't sound like Marissa's name.
Right.
I had a moment because she looked at me and pointed to me and said, "This is Megan." Like, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
I am not.
I realized as I was saying it, this is the wrong order. Why am I saying this aloud? But it was too late to go back.
It's okay.
So I just ran with it. The funny thing is Marissa was looking at me and she was kind of making a face. And I mean, it's better than like doing the Nana where you like lip along with me. But it was like this face. I was like, how bad did I just mess up this intro?
You didn't mess it up until you got to...
Until I got to Megan. All right, guys. So before we get started today, let's talk about what we're drinking. And since we're just going to mess up all orders, Marissa, what are you drinking?
We don't have an order for drinking,
That's
so
true.
it's fine.
That's true.
I am drinking Bengal Spice by Celestial Seasonings because it is an herbal mocking of chai tea that I wanted.
Yeah.
It is so good. It tastes like a black tea.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the best herbal teas that I have had.
Yeah, I love Bengal Spice. You got it, and I think I had a couple cups here, and I literally went out and got it like the next day because it was so good.
I was at a friend's house and she was like, "Oh, I have tea for the morning." I was like, "Oh, I brought my own, but I'll try your tea." And she's like, "I do a bit of honey and then some almond milk in it." And I had it and I was like, "Oh." So on my way home, which is a 3-hour drive, I like stopped at the store, picked it up, and I was like, "Yep, it's mine."
Yes, it's a really good one. It's really good. What about you, Megan? What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking Sea Witch, which is a tea that I think we've had a couple times on the show.
Yeah.
It's like a Earl Grey, or it's a decaf Earl Grey with hazelnut. And that is an original Owl Crate tea.
It's a good one. I like that one too.
Yeah.
How about
Still has that
you?
nutty one. I went berry today, and I did Marissa's Mighty Leaf, berry hibiscus.
Oh.
And that's the teas that they carry at Pete's Coffee. So,
That's the Jolly Rancher tea.
oh, it tastes like Jolly Rancher. Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I actually haven't had a sip of it yet because it's really, really hot, but I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, it's not like overly sweet like a Jolly Rancher, but just the fruitiness makes me think Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, I made my husband some of the blackberry zinc that you usually have because we kept it when I was coming out from that cold last time. I went and got some, and now he's thinking he's coming down with a cold, so I made him some of that, and I was like, oh, it smells so good. And I was like, well, I have that one at home, so I'll try this one today. So it was kind of on that berry floral note kind of I wanted.
What did Jelani think of the blackberry?
He drank all of it, and then as I'm getting ready to walk out the door, he goes, can you make me another cup of tea really quick? So obviously he liked it.
Yes.
So yeah, he loves that.
He's got good taste.
Yeah, he's. It's funny because we've been together forever, and now he loves teas and coffees, but it's always, my love, can you make me a tea or a coffee? And I'm like, he's like, somehow you just make it better. I'm like, this one's easy. It's a tea bag, and you can't oversteep it. Like, just throw it in hot water. But
It's because Jenna always makes fancy teas and coffee to the point where I'm all like, I want stupid, simple stuff.
yes,
Like, I'll come over and she'll be like, do you want a coffee? What kind of coffee do you want? What kind of syrups do you want? And I'm like, can I just have coffee? Like,
Just coffee.
just coffee with, maybe a bit of sugar in it.
yeah. She's like, just like a splash of cream and sugar, and I'm like, you don't want that frothed with vanilla and hazelnut?
Yeah,
And
and I can put the white chocolate in there, and I can...
have all my flavors.
Meanwhile, I'll come over and Jen will be like, "You want this?" Yes.
Yes. Give me all the things.
I will try everything.
Don't get me wrong. Every once in a while, I like her really fancy coffees and teas and stuff, but...
Occasionally you just want something simple.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
also kind of a guy at heart where I don't like complicated stuff.
I'll be honest, there's been, for a while, because my stomach's been so upset and I've been avoiding extra creams and stuff like that, I've just been doing coffee with just a scoop of brown sugar, and it's like my favorite. Just very simple sugar and black coffee, but the brown sugar for some reason just tastes perfect with the coffee that I've been drinking. So, yeah, I can go simple too sometimes. Not often, but I can.
Yeah. My husband's been wanting just honey from the backyard and hot water.
Mm.
And in Korean, they rhyme. So the word for honey is gur. and the word for water is mur. So I'll say gurmur, gurmur, and he'll like yes.
Yes.
So
That's fun. I like
yeah,
that.
we're preparing for allergy season.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So a teaspoon of local honey every day can significantly help with allergies.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do that every year to try to fight allergies, too. So right about now, I'd start taking a teaspoon of honey every day.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I did when I was pregnant. It was just honey and hot water and a little bit of lemon.
Can you have honey while you're pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay, just babies can't have it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah. Tea and honey, apparently.
Yeah, that's the theme of today.
No, today we're actually, we decided to talk about banned books today and why books are banned, what that looks like in this world. And I realized that this is a very, very delicate topic in which I want to, set fire to the system.
Yeah.
But yeah, we thought we'd talk about some banned books today and kind of delve into the history of that, guys. So what did you guys find as you looked up about banned books?
I found a lot of very interesting things, and like Jenna said, we're going to get into probably a lot of like sensitive topics in some ways with this, both about the banned books and just banning books in general. But it was something that I started my research with this of first finding out like, okay, what does it mean to ban a book, especially in America? Because it's such a big topic, it's such a big thing with the First Amendment of like freedom of speech. So how are you going to censor that?
Right.
So I had to look into it a little bit, because when I think banned books, I think the extreme, and I think like Fahrenheit 451 style of like they're just going out and burning it. And it's not. It's usually just like, okay, this school or this district or whatever decides that this can't be in our library type thing. Or this bookseller decides that they're not going to sell this book. The most interesting one to me was like prisons not being allowed to have books and stuff like that.
Ooh,
when I looked it up.
Yeah.
I remember reading that, certain prisons banned Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King because it's
ideas.
about a prison break.
There's a book. I had to write down the title of it for it. It's called The 48 Laws of Power, which aren't allowed in prisons because it's basically a book on how to manipulate people.
Oh.
And they were afraid there'd be like a lot of weird regimes going on with that. So, but yeah, so that was something that I had to look up first, was just like, what does it mean to ban a book in this day and age?
Yeah, I was really confused by that too when I first looked it up, because I was like, the idea of a banned book, when it sounds like a banned book, you think like the whole country can't read it and we're getting rid of it,
Yeah.
But it's much more smaller sections of area that don't allow it. So either libraries or whatever. And it's usually because somebody petitions against it. So like parents might petition that they don't want this book in this school library or whatever. So due to an outcry of it, this library decides not to carry it.
Mm-hmm. That makes me think of that one episode of Parks and Rec where he wanted to put Twilight in the time capsule, but then the extremely religious lady was like, no, this book is of the devil, and I refuse. And she's trying to like, okay, what can we put? And she's like, I want the Bible. And she's like, well, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a funny episode.
That's great. Yeah, I definitely had the idea that it was much bigger, but it's definitely a little bit smaller than I thought it was. But that doesn't mean it's any less dangerous or problematic. I think that the idea I get the idea of not wanting sexually explicit books being read by young children. Like absolutely great. Have some things that you don't carry in middle school libraries or high school libraries. You're not going to
put 50 Shades of Grey in an elementary school. Like, it's not something that you do.
But a lot of the reasoning and stuff is that is a lot of religious reasoning, which is interesting because we have a freedom of religion and separation of church and state. So the fact that we can't even sit there and be like, religiously, I don't agree with this, so don't carry it in your library. Well, then don't read it.
Like Jenna, I have stats.
Stats!
Ooh, yes.
Marissa, give us stats.
So one of the things that I looked up, one of the articles I was reading on, I think it was like firstamendmentmuseum.org, but it said that as of 2020, the top 10 reasons books were challenged or banned, according to the American Library Associations, included number 1, which was 92.5% of books on the list, was because of sexual content, which I think is understandable to an extent depending on the area and the reason, like the school. And
Yeah, if it's a school district or if it's something where you're expecting young kids to be able to check them out, absolutely. Public libraries can still have bans in public libraries, which I think is dumb. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that later.
yeah, well, we'll talk more about that later. Number 2, which was 61.5%, was offensive language.
Oh, no Stephen King.
Sorry.
Which, once again, is kind of a hit or miss for me, depending on it, because my personal beliefs in offensive language are a lot different than I know what the majority of society is.
Right.
Number 3 was unsuited to the age group, which I can't believe that made it to 3. I feel like that should have just been number 1.
Number 1, yeah.
That should be the only one. That should be
Exactly.
it. That's all that matters.
And that was 49%. And then it's a big jump to number 4, which is the religious viewpoint, and that's 26%. Number 5 is LGBTQIA plus content, 23.5%. Number 6 is violence. Number 7 is racism. Number 8 is use of illegal substances. Number 9 is anti-family content. And then number 10 is political viewpoints.
So, okay, question.
Mm-hmm.
The anti-family content, what could that be?
That is what disrupts your idea of the family. Like
family
the American family of like happy, safe. So if you have like an abusive household or something like
so
that.
they don't want things that show outside of what is shown on like I Love Lucy or whatever.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
Probably don't want LGBTQ. Probably would fall into
That's what
that.
I was thinking it was, but then they had the LGBTQ already in the list, so I thought, oh. But I guess some of those lists, I assume, overlap each other.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's some overlapping in there. And like I said, that was just the like breakdown
Yeah.
of the 2020 proposed banned books and why they were banned.
Okay.
So,
Very cool.
yeah.
I also thought, and this is just my own understanding as someone who is not religious, my understanding was that religion would be pretty high up there.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't fall in with the religion of the certain people, then they don't want it kind of thing. But I'm surprised that it was only like 26 or what did you say, 26 or 27%?
I think it was 26.
I would have thought it would have been like pretty high. So that's a interesting little fun fact for me that I learned today. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the biggest jump too, because it went from 49% for the unsuited to age group
Mm-hmm.
to 26% was the next one. So it's almost like half of that.
Yeah.
So what I found interesting is I was reading an article written in 2023 that said that the American Library Association's Office for Intellectual Freedom released preliminary data that reports 695 attempts to censor library materials and services and challenges 1,915 unique books. That represented a 20% increase over 2022, meaning that we jumped 20% in 1 year on what we were trying to ban from 2022 to
Interesting.
2023.
It was even bigger back, because I think it was from 2019 to 2020. There was like a 60% increase or something like that.
Yeah, they said it will reach the highest number of book challenges since ALA began compiling the data more than 20 years ago. So it's the highest amount of challenges in 2023. We're in 2025, guys. So that means it's probably only going up because people are only getting
Right.
more. And I mean, let's not get political, but it's this day and age. I am sure there's a lot more out there.
There was something interesting that I was skimming through. I didn't actually read in depth on this article, but there was a librarian in Texas that spoke about censorship and banning books and challenging books. And part of it, too, is not just like, it's not necessarily that the library doesn't carry the book. They just won't present it out in the front. You have to go up and ask them specifically for that book.
Oh, that's good to know.
So, like, if you're looking for a book, you might be able to find it if you go up and ask, but you have to know that you're looking for that book. They won't just present it.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, so and that goes with the censorship of it. Like, we don't want it out in the open. if you know about it, you already know about it, it's fine. But since it's out in the open, people are going to find out.
Yeah, I think that a biggest challenge that I was noticing kind of across the board with banning books is that, like, when you're banning books, you're removing something that people see in themselves with it, right? So a lot of the books that are challenged are LGBTQ or people of color and stuff like that. So when you go into a library and you can't find books that you relate to that then you're not going to read as much. It was saying that, like, children are 4 times more likely to read a book if they find books where they see representation of themselves in them. So it's like you're ruining children's interest in literature by taking away their ability to find these books. And they're kids. They're not going to be able to go out and buy $17 books every time a new book comes out that they want. So
yeah. And the other thing that was brought up was just exposure for other kids, like people that do have books that have stuff that represent them, but they don't see other people's perspective and point of view, so that limits their viewpoint.
Right.
It limits what they see and leads to misunderstandings.
Absolutely. Yeah, they I saw this thing and it said, like, how it's so essential that when you're reading, you're introduced to worlds in new ways, and it's scary because when you're a parent, a lot of times you want to, like, protect your kids and lead them in your view, and you want them to grow up the way you believe and the way you think, you know. But if you don't challenge those beliefs, if you don't have them opening up their world and seeing new things, then they're just mindless drones. They're just following you because they don't know anything else, for one. And two, you're really limiting their view of the world, and you're fostering a world where they can't understand their fellow peers, and that just builds to misunderstandings and hate. Yeah. So also, though, it's a lot of people are ashamed by some of the stuff they read too. So
what's it called, where is it the where you're in a vacuum or something? Mm-hmm. Where you only surround yourself with the people who have your same views and believe in the same things or read the same things as you, so you're not challenged by your ideas. Or what is that called? An echo chamber? I think that's what it's called. What people call it.
A cult, but
but it's, I guess it's the same thing with the reading, where I just read The Frozen River by Ariel Lahone or something for the Always Fully Booked book club. And that's not a book I would have read because it's historical fiction, and it's about, like, right after the Revolutionary War and about one of the most prolific midwives. And it was all about, like, this history. It made me it's a very angryifying book.
Angryifying.
Yes, I was angry the entire time.
That's a great wicked word.
Because it's all about, like...
What's a wicked word?
That's true. If I could talk like Ariana Grande, Glinda, I would do that. But alas. But yeah, so I feel like that is a book, because one that has, like, I don't know, back in the day, they would have banned a bunch of those books, especially that one, because it talks about, like, women empowerment and how all of these women are basically pregnant out of wedlock. And back in 1789 or something, that was not the best time.
Yeah.
But, and, like, how she had to testify in court, but if her husband wasn't present, she couldn't. So anyway, little things like that. I know it's not really on topic.
Well, that's why we have all the books about female rage now.
Yes. I literally just finished a book called, well, not just, but a couple months ago, For She Is Wrath.
Yes.
So it was all about female rage. But I guess it's sort of on topic, because if you are in that echo chamber and you're only reading the same things that you normally read, or talking to the same people that believe in the same things, you're not learning new things.
Yeah.
And you're just, like, kind of stuck. So if you ban books, then, you know, you're not going to get to experience what those books have to offer.
Yeah.
So, but don't do it.
No. It's not a good idea.
And I think there's a difference between banning books and making sure books are age appropriate.
Yes.
Totally.
There's a huge difference in that. Where, yes, my elementary school library would not have something like Diary of Anne Frank, because I think that's a little heavy for, you know, upwards of 5th graders. I don't think we read it until high school, was it?
I think I read it in
that
7th
elementary
grade.
school.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I want to.
Well, did you read the censored version? Because it is also censored.
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Look,
when we
it's super
first read
censored.
it.
Yeah.
But that's also the question on it that too is because yes, there is a difference between age appropriateness and what we want to get from the content.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people would argue that some of the content that would go into like high school books and stuff like that would not be age appropriate, but there are high schoolers that are going through similar things.
Right.
So
That's
it's
true.
like some people be like, "Oh, it's not age appropriate to have sex in books." And it's like, "Yeah, you don't want to just read straight up porn." But at the same time, there are high schoolers going through sex. There are high schoolers going through drug abuse. There are high schoolers that are going through terrible things at home that you don't want to talk about, but it needs to be talked about and that they would relate to. And they don't feel normal because it's not talked about. And I'm sorry, this is such a serious thing to talk about right now, but Megan is lifting up her cup of tea.
And the coaster came with it and wouldn't cut off. Anyway, I apologize.
It's okay.
I just wanted tea.
I just wanted to.
But yeah, so it's like, I think by like keeping that stuff out of their access, it just isolates them more. So if you're going through these terrible things and you're trying to find like purpose and you're trying to find joy or even like some sort of outlet and somebody to relate to, and they're keeping it from you, it only isolates you more.
And also a good point with that too is people who are going through abuse, who are going through those type of things, when you're reading those books, say someone who wasn't abused, someone like me who's reading these books about abuse, might be more aware and able to see when a friend is, because I'm seeing it through the book. Because I'm not that I'm going to suddenly diagnose all my friends as being abused, but because if it's not talked about, if you live in the vacuum and no one talks about abuse or sex or things like that, where your friends could get into trouble with things, drug abuse, whatever, and I'm just living in my own little vacuum, I'm not going to see my friend who might be struggling with one of those things.
Exactly. It like we were talking about, it opens the eyes to other people who might not understand others as easily, or they just think everybody's exactly the same as they are, and it's not.
Yeah.
Nobody is exactly the same. We're all very unique people. And it's important to learn about that.
Especially children and teenagers.
Yeah.
Especially children and teenagers. It's interesting how as children and teenagers, you are less aware of the world around you, and you're more, everything is centered around you, you know? So understanding that anything could be different, like you need these books to challenge that and see that other people have different lives and different experiences and stuff like that.
I also think it's the opposite in that if you're going through something, there are so many things, like even if it's just like something the way your body is, where you feel like you're so alone.
Right.
And then it isn't until like the internet or something where you watch a video where it's like, oh, ADHDers do this. And you're just like, wait, what? I do that. And not that I'm saying you should diagnose yourself based on a TikTok, but
Please don't.
yeah, please don't. But then there's also like people with like, I guess period issues where just like, I thought I was genuinely alone, but like reading all the comments, people are like, oh yeah, that's me. So I think even younger generations could read books and being like, oh, you know, this is my family. This is, you know, this person is going through what I went through or what I'm going through. So it's also the opposite, where instead of learning about other people, they're learning about themselves too.
Totally. Yeah, I honestly, for me, I always joke that because I'm such an introvert and I have such bad social anxiety, like the reason I'm so good at customer service is that I realize that everyone's just as awkward in social situations, and I don't want to believe anything else. I'm going to stick with everyone feels as awkward as I do, because then it makes it easier to like approach people and kind of joke it off, because then if I feel like I'm not alone in feeling like this situation is awkward, then I'm able to like interact with people in a way that I wouldn't before.
Yeah.
So feeling like I wasn't alone and second guessing myself and feeling like the weirdest person in the world helped a lot.
Yep, I definitely agree. Now I'm going to bring up a very touchy topic that if you guys want me to cut this, I can, but I'm very curious because I want to bring it up because Jenna and I kind of talked about this would be brought up. What's the difference then between banning books, the censorship there, and cancel culture?
I have an answer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go for it.
So I feel like banning books doesn't means that they're still accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And cancel culture is your personal decision to no longer support that author or a publisher or an agency or whatever for a certain reason. So like for me, I do feel The Mists of Avalon, which is written by Marion Zimmer Bradley, I think. I will never read her book. I will never suggest it to another person because the trigger warning for those who are sensitive about sexual assault, her children, came out after she died that her children were basically trafficked. Like she trafficked her own children.
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote The Mists of Avalon, which is a very like feminist retelling of King Arthur. So I would never read it personally, and I would never suggest it to other people. But I do feel if someone wants to read a very feminist retelling of King Arthur, that it is out there for them to read it.
Yeah.
So I will also say, like, yeah, I don't want to support J.K. Rowling and all of her books, but I will not stop them from being published because they're important to some people.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go out and say, like, this book should not be in libraries.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like, according to the internet and what I've read about The Mists of Avalon, it helped empower a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
And if the author is very, very problematic and did these horrible things, then, you know, I don't want that person, even though she's no longer alive, she doesn't get the money out of it. I don't want that person to make money off of their, you know, I guess art. I have a hard time separating the art from the artist myself. But for some authors, I can do that. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's like I guess you pick and choose yourself. But yeah. What do you guys think? How do you?
I think cancel culture is almost worse because we stop talking about them. So like, for things, even in this podcast, we've talked about, like, we're looking up quotes and it's like, do we want to talk about that person because they're canceled, you know? And it's like, you stop talking about this person because you're so afraid of the repercussions of upsetting a entire group. And don't get me wrong, people do horrible things. All sorts of people do really horrible things, and that doesn't mean that we should bring light to them. But that doesn't take away from the art and what they've done to me. So to me, I think that when we completely cancel I think cancel culture is horrible, to be honest. I hate cancel culture. I really think it's awful. So bleep me on the F word if you want. But
we
but
defy the censors, but censor that.
Defy the censors, censor me. No, so I think cancel culture is awful because we as a group are offended by something, usually on the extreme opposite. So with J.K. Rowling, with her transphobia and the horrible things that she's said, she's offended the entire LGBTQ community. And don't get me wrong, I do not stand with J.K. Rowling, but on the other side of that, if it were someone doing the opposite, we would push to talk about them more.
What do you mean by opposite?
So if it was someone who was pushing the LGBTQ agenda who wanted to, and people were trying to censor that and cancel them because if it was the entire Christian community that was loudly saying, don't talk about this person because they are pro-LGBTQ, then we would rise up against the Christian community and say, no, you can't cancel that person for it.
Interesting.
So on the opposite side of it, I think that there's a place for everyone to be heard. And by pushing down and not talking about those people does a disservice to the other side of it.
Okay, then my question for you
is
there was an author, I completely forgot her name, but she wrote this trilogy and it came out later that she was basically being incredibly racist and disparaging other authors and like behind their backs and like writing these really horrible, mean comments about them and how she deserves to earn more income, I think it was. Does she also, she should not be canceled?
No, I don't think anyone should be canceled because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's what our entire country is based off of. And so,
is racism considered an opinion, though?
Sure. And I mean, not that I think that it's something that's good. It's something that should be distaught. I think that it's something that really needs to be broken down and changed about our society. But it's not something that we can change by canceling and pushing people into a situation like that.
Then what could what do you think the repercussions for her action should be?
Honestly, that's not really up to me. Like, but if it's people that are going to be offended by that, then absolutely don't support them. Don't buy from them. And talk about the fact that they do this. It should be something that's known, and people should make that decision. I'm not going to support that author. I'm not going to do these things. But by canceling them and not allowing the world to talk about them, or by attacking people who do talk about them, all you're doing is shutting down the voices of the people that do talk about them before those people can learn.
So, okay, yes, I agree with that. You are like opening my eyes in a way.
Yeah.
But I guess I just want some clarification. Sorry, Marissa. We'll get to you in a second.
It's okay. I brought up the topic, but you guys can debate it.
So I guess my opinion, or my understanding of this is cancel culture is basically a ton of people coming together to say, I do not support this author.
Right.
So I guess what you're saying is this author should have been still be able to write and publish books and earn money based on these books. But if people don't buy them or have come together, is that just not cancel culture in itself?
No, I think that, okay, your idea of cancel culture, absolutely, yes. That, I think that what you think cancel culture is, yes, totally. A group of people should be able to do that. As readers on a whole, we should be able to discuss and say, hey, we don't want to support this author for this reason. Here's why I think that you guys shouldn't read her books. And if you agree with me, if you don't want to support this author because she's racist, join on the bandwagon. Let's teach her a lesson. Let's not let her make money from this. But when you censor and shut down any discussion of that author at all, and that suddenly you can't mention J.K. Rowling on social media without half of your feed blowing up on you. And it's like, we all grew up on Harry Potter, but heaven forbid someone mention that they like Harry Potter anymore or wear a Harry Potter, thing out in
the difference. Okay,
in the world, because everyone's going to turn against you and think that you hate trans people. And it's like, no, this book made an impact on me. I've had this Harry Potter thing since long before this issue came up, and I loved it for so long. So I still want to wear, or, we, might enjoy that kind of thing like that. But I'm not going to spend any more money and give her any more money because I don't want to. But then everyone turns against you. And it's like you as a person get attacked for having anything to do with that author when this whole other group tells you you can't feel that way. But I don't know. Part of this is just me thinking too. And I'm going to say this as a mostly straight white woman, like mostly straight, I say, because I can't say I'm perfectly straight. I had my first kiss was a girl. I've had multiple encounters with girls, so I can't say I'm fully straight, but I'm a white woman too. So it's like there's a lot of niches in that. And also I'm married to a black man. So we have a lot of discussions about racism and Black Lives Matter and that whole community. So we have a lot of thoughts on that too. But I also realize that my opinion on some things is going to be limited in that way.
Correct.
So
we also grew up in a very predominantly white.
Totally.
In high school, we had one black guy and one Asian guy.
Two. 8. We had 8 black people. And I remember it because there was the most racist guy in the world, and I almost punched him in the face in high school for saying, we have 8 black people in this school, and that's 8 too many. And I had to walk away before I got expelled.
That shows how limited then my experience in high school was, because I only interacted with one of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Dang.
8.
I needed more experiences.
But we also, what I found out later is that where we grew up was a hub for the KKK. And there was a wizard that lived out there, so that's why. Yeah. That has a big reason to do with it, so. Where we lived.
I'm curious to know if our high school now is a lot more diverse. I have no idea.
Oh, I don't know. It'd be interesting for me to find out the stats on that too. But now, ironically, both of my siblings are gay. My mom and I are both married to black men. My dad's married to a Thai woman. So we're a pretty diverse family for having grown up in a very secluded, not diverse area.
I'm married to a Korean man.
Yeah.
That's my input on that. What say you, Marissa?
Yeah.
I think we've done enough where if I do have to edit this out, it's going to be a lot.
But I want to hear your opinions too, because you, I would say, fit the niche more of, say, the people who might be offended by J.K. Rowling, or might be, I mean, obviously, you're actually much darker than me. You are white, but you could pass for mixed, or, so it's like you might be a little bit more likely to have felt the repercussions of homophobia or racism and have more of an opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, I am the same way. I don't like cancel culture. I agree with Megan's point as far as, like, if you don't support somebody because of who they are, their views, just don't support them.
Yeah.
My big thing is when people attack other people for supporting or liking them. Yes, it sucks. But, like, my thought process on that is, like, Chick-fil-A. I don't buy Chick-fil-A.
I don't buy Chick-fil-A.
I don't eat Chick-fil-A. But you've had Chick-fil-A before,
Totally.
Jenna. I've watched you buy it. I'm not going to be like, well, I can't talk to you ever again because you bought Chick-fil-A.
Ooh,
Right.
this just in, BBG, Brawless Book Guild is over because of Chick-fil-A.
Right.
Exactly. But it's just, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, just because I don't do it doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you can't.
Right.
And
Interesting
that's-
fact with Chick-fil-A. My husband loves Chick-fil-A. But I have put up such a fight that we never get Chick-fil-A anymore. But it has always been that I will not spend my money at Chick-fil-A, so I'll eat it if he buys it.
Yeah.
If he's the one, and I'm like, but I won't give them any of my money. So yeah, we've had Chick-fil-A, but even still, like, anytime he says he wants it, I'm like, I don't support Chick-fil-A. I don't want to go to Chick-fil-A, and he has to really be having been a spectacular husband to get away with getting Chick-fil-A.
Okay,
Yes.
I had to look up this quote because it says, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
Yes, exactly. The thing I don't like about cancel culture is it creates this army of people trying to cancel each other. Of, if you don't support something, yes, talk about why you don't support it, that's fine. Talk about what it is that makes you not support it. It's important to tell people why you don't support things. Like we talked about with Jenna's side of it, or with Jenna talking about the opposite side of it, I completely understand people that are against gay rights. Like, I don't agree with it, but I understand why you have that belief and that opinion, because it is an opinion. You don't feel like it is right for two people of the same gender or whatever it might be for the queer spectrum to not be together or to not do what they're doing. Your opinion, you're allowed to have it, but when your opinion affects the lives of others, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's where I want to bring up the opposite part too for books of, okay, you wouldn't buy the book because the author has a background in it. Now, are you going to try to cancel A Clockwork Orange? Because that sensationalizes bad things and makes the protagonist somebody who's not supposed to be likable, but people that read the book relate to him and like the things that go on there. So are you going to ban that book because it makes these horrible things that this character does seem like good things?
It glorifies the...
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think. So I actually brought that up, and that made me think of a big reason. A lot of books that were banned were things that had to do with school shootings and stuff like that. And it's like, I can see the point in banning those books, because on the one hand, you don't want to give the wrong kids an idea. Unfortunately, in this day and age, guess what? All they have to do is turn on the TV, and they've got that wrong idea. But keeping those books out of the schools, you're trying to minimize the damage of that. So same thing with Clockwork Orange, you know.
Yeah.
You might be minimizing the damage of those kids that want to run with the crazy and the horrible things going on and stuff like that. So yeah, I think what Marissa's boiling down to is a lot of times cancel culture has more to do with the author and less to do with the book, and banning books has more to do with the book and less to do with the author and
Ooh,
stuff.
wow. That was great, Jenna. That was great.
Summarizing it.
I got chills.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, obviously, but that was good. Well put.
Thanks. No, I get that. I think the hard part is that we're a country built on the freedom of speech and our ability to like talk about ideas and disagree with each other. But in having that ability to have that freedom and separation and stuff like that, it gives a lot of leeway for really horrible ideologies to take place. So
Yeah.
things like racism and homophobia and transphobia and those things that really cause pain and turmoil and can actually cause a lot of harm come up because you're allowed to feel whatever way you feel. And then there's a difference between how you're raised and what you're taught and versus what you feel and believe later on in life and what you're challenged with. So I think that books themselves shouldn't be banned or canceled necessarily because they do challenge those beliefs. But that doesn't mean you have to fully support authors that challenge your beliefs as a person, you know? But at the same time, you shouldn't shut it down the discussion with other people, and you shouldn't just shut down their opinions or thoughts too.
I think my big thing with the books, yes, books should not be banned. I think the important thing is that if you do have a book that is very controversial, especially in a school setting, it's a school setting, you need to educate the people that are reading that book.
Yeah. So if you have like a book that maybe you could have like a class discussion on or something,
Mm-hmm.
because from what I remember from all the books that we read, I didn't read any of them. So I couldn't tell you if they had like a message that pertained to my life as a teenager in high school. I'm sure The Great Gatsby had nothing to do with living as a teenager in high school. Neither did, what was that? Grapes of Wrath. Did that have anything? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because even as I was looking, I was like thinking some of the books that are banned, like that have been banned in history, like Fahrenheit 451 and Animal Farm and stuff like that. These books that have been banned were books that were assigned reading at one point. And yeah, so we have a teacher friend who teaches English, and I wanted to ask him what books are even allowed to read in schools anymore as like their assigned readings, because not that things like The Great Gatsby necessarily had those ties, but I'm sure there's things that people find offensive in almost every form of literature. So I'm like, how do they...
The Great Gatsby was all about partying
and murder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Like, yeah, of course that was challenged at one point.
Potential gayness.
Yes, and potential yes.
Speaking of, every couple months he always asks me like, hey, what do you have recommendations, specifically like books that he can add to his his classroom library, not school library, because he has a separate one for his students. And he'll say specifically ones that are like either dystopian or LGBT or anything. But the only thing that he says is like, if it has some sexiness in it, it's okay, but like not too much. But he basically, his like classroom library is like, the rule for that is he'd rather ask for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yeah.
And so if there are books that the kids are curious about, he wants to be able to provide that for them.
That's awesome.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really awesome. And that speaks a lot to it, you know, like I think that's usually what happens is books come out and then a parent finds out about it and they're like, "No, I'm not okay with this," or whatever, you know. But hey, I mean, that's getting parents reading too if they're not going to.
Yeah.
That's the problem though with some critique that I have with it is people trying to ban books without reading them.
Yes.
So if you're going to ban it, you got to read it first.
Totally.
You have to know why. You have to be able to quote specific reasons.
Yep.
I need to know exactly why this...
Which page, which paragraph.
Exactly. just because you hear, oh, this talks about this subject,
Yeah.
tell me why that is offensive and why your kid is going to learn the wrong thing from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it John Green? And he said one of his books, was it Looking for Alaska, I think, was banned.
It was hugely banned.
And they were like, oh, because there's sexual content of it. And he was like, it wasn't sexy. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be this fumbling first time that was just like really bad. And that was the point.
I really liked, because I watched a video of John Green talking about his books being banned and like how he doesn't talk about it on the internet often because it's the internet, but like he's a chaplain and he's actually very religious. And so like people telling him that his books are getting banned because of like these anti-religious things. And he's like, but I'm telling you what people, like what kids are going through.
Yeah.
And one of his biggest like advice that he got that he like passes on is like when kids are coming up to talk to you about their problems, don't fix them, just stand there.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like sometimes they just need to let it out and
Right.
they just need you to listen and not judge them.
Right.
Because they feel it already. They just need to let it out.
Right.
And so it's like, don't fix them. Don't try to judge them for whatever they're doing. Understand them.
Right.
Yeah.
There's that idea of when someone comes to you to say, do you want my advice? Do you want me to just listen? Or do I need to like step in or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Which I think is a really good idea to approach things
Yeah.
with it. So,
Yeah.
Question though about John Green. His brother Hank Green
Mm-hmm.
is a scientist. I'm also wondering if he is religious. Because Hank Green is also famous on YouTube for, like, people will say, like, I don't understand why it's this way. And he's like, I got you.
Yeah.
So.
I you know what? He didn't talk about it. I think he is. And
Okay, cool.
Because he did it on, like, their shared channel that you made the...
They have a shared channel?
I think so.
Worlds collide? Science and books?
But,
Science and religion.
and he, like, at the end of the video said something like... He did, like, a shout-out to his brother or something like that. But, so I assume so, but once again, I didn't watch anything about Hank, so I don't want to put anything out there that says this is how Hank is, because I don't know.
I remember seeing him and being like, that guy looks a lot like John Green. That's really weird. His last name is even Green. And I finally got to the video where he's like, yes, my brother is John Green.
Yeah.
Here's the proof. And I was just like, wow. The world is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, me, my brother, and Marissa all have very different religious views, so it's possible they're very different.
That's
It's
true. Yeah.
You never know.
I don't even know my brother's religious views, honestly. I know mine. Do we want to end on a fun note?
Yeah, fun notes.
All right, so I looked up funny reasons for banned books, and the first one was Brown Bear, what do you see? Do you guys know why that was banned?
Racism. I don't know. It's brown.
Actually, Brown Bear, what do you see is not racist
I
because
know.
all the people in the back are very colorful.
They're very colorful. I just was joking because it's brown.
It's brown, yeah. It was the author Bill Martin Jr. is the same name as an obscure Marxist theorist. So
Oh.
it was banned because they thought it was the same person.
Oh.
And then the one that, obviously we know why Harry Potter's banned, because witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And then What's Happening to My Body is because, it's like, oh no,
Let's not talk about
your
our
body
bodies.
changes. How dare you? But the one that really got me, I'm scrolling to it. Maybe it was up here. And this is the reason I had to read this 3 times. Lois Lowry's The Giver was published in 1993. I didn't realize it's such an old book, and it's like dystopian.
Yeah.
And that, to me, reads very 2010s.
Yeah.
Or like late 2000s, 2010s. And as I'm reading this, and I was like, oh, why was that banned? It said, it is a dystopian young adult novel about a 12-year-old boy's discovery of the truth behind the seemingly... And then I skipped ahead, and I was like, unsuited age group for violence and being sexually explicit. And I was like, what? And I was thinking, The Giving Tree.
Oh my god.
And I was like, I didn't realize The Giving Tree was dystopian. And I'm
That's
going
hysterical.
like, what? And
yeah,
then I was
it's
like,
this
wait.
tree that just
And very sexually explicit.
And then unsuited to age group. And I was like, yeah, I guess it like talks about like capitalism and like how it can destroy like the world and cut down trees and stuff. And I'm like, okay. And then it was like violence. And I'm like, yeah, he basically destroys his like best friend of a tree. So I guess that's sexually explicit. Wait, because he got married at one point? I don't understand. And then I was like, oh, The Giver.
Yes.
The Giver.
Different.
I think The Giver is a great book.
It is a great book.
And then Where's Waldo was banned because there was an exposed breast in the book.
I heard about that one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that one.
Well, that's ban all of Disney with their weird little sex things in their original ones.
Obviously, Diary of Anne Frank was banned for multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really fun, though. Where's a funny one?
Diary of Anne Frank, it's funny how much even years and years later is still coming out, because isn't it now that they're realizing that Anne was like questioning her sexuality and they had locked away much of the book so that it wouldn't come out that she might be gay?
Yeah.
Bro, Emily Dickinson.
Yeah, Emily Dickinson too.
The reason why so many of her poems were not published was because it was her brother's mistress was the one that found them and published them.
Yep.
And because a lot of the poems were about her brother's wife, they didn't publish it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Were they like lovers or something, or was she just pining after her?
It's debatable. So
They totally banged then.
Yeah.
If it's debatable, that means they banged. Right?
yeah, the popular theory nowadays is that yes, they were hooking up, and part of the reason, like, it was well known that her brother had a mistress, and
Oh, well, everyone's
and
hooking
it
up with
was-
everyone anyway.
Yeah, it was fine because they were together, so
Ooh,
even though they couldn't be together.
we got a bit of the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in there. The last one I have is the Tarzan series was banned in a California town because they didn't want to confuse it with the name of the town, which is Tarzana.
Banning-
Tarzana, I don't know.
I'm banning this book because I don't want you to think about my town this way.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, we don't wear loincloths here.
I like it. Also, when we went on our big, what was that? Around the World Books tour. What's that called again?
Our book crawl?
tour. Book crawl. That's what we did.
Around the World book tour. I wish.
Around the world in Sacramento.
One of the like bookstores that we were in, the real big one, I forgot the name again. Sorry guys.
Capital, maybe? Capital's the one that had that.
Not
Capital.
Capital. The other one, beer and books.
Yeah.
Beer books.
Yeah,
Beers and books.
That one
Beer's books.
had all the Tarzan books. I did not realize how many Tarzan books there were out there.
So many.
There was like 20. Actually, I think I looked it up and it was like 14. But
A lot.
looking at them on the shelves, I was like, dang.
I genuinely thought there was like one before that.
Same.
And
I
then
thought
I
there
was
was
like,
just
wait.
one.
There's a lot. It's
Yeah, there's a lot. So,
like the Hardy Boys.
yeah. And still, there's only 10 episodes of Mr. Bean. But everyone thinks it's like seasons long, but it's only 10. Anyway. Anyway, any last thoughts on banned books?
I think people just need to be careful. Censorship is generally the way to not teach each other things. Like,
Yeah,
I think
leads
that's-
to bad political things.
yeah, we don't need to be in a world that's too censored. We need to be in a world where ideas and discussions are able to be had. And honestly, we don't need to live in a world where there's shame in having your ideas, because when you shame someone for their ideas, you're not teaching them anything. You're just making them shut up, and they're internalizing that idea, and it's not making it change. So
Yeah.
that's something I think that's important to think about.
Yeah. My final parting thought for this is read banned books and read why they're banned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's my big thing is, I mean, just keep reading books, but look up banned books, look up why they're banned, and then read it. Because
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was doing when I was doing this research, was like, hey, what are some like books that are being challenged or banned right now? And there's actually this huge long list you can find online.
So many. I thought about like listing out like some of the most banned books, and I was like, this is huge and long, and it's ridiculous.
It's
so.
way too much. But it's very interesting to look at them and then look at the reasons why they're being banned. And I want to read it because I want to find those reasons in there.
I also think, read them and make opinions for yourself.
Exactly.
Totally. You don't have to agree with the book. You could read the banned book and hate it and actually disagree with everything about it, but maybe just reading it made you think about something in a different way. You might just get a little piece of it that makes you think something differently. Or it might solidify your opinion. That's fine too. Like, figure out your own thoughts by reading these books. You're not going to learn anything by shutting them out.
It's true.
I'm just curious of the stuff that's like, oh, it's being banned because of explicit language or something. Be like, okay, what's the explicit language?
Yeah.
Do I actually think this is offensive enough to ban it?
And then it turns out it's all just Shakespearean insults.
Shakespeare should be banned if
Totally.
half of the reasons that we're banning books are why.
But
All it
Shakespeare
is
also
dick jokes.
invented so many new words.
Yep.
Shakespeare is literally just a bunch of inappropriate jokes that go on in the midst of violence and romance.
It's totally true.
And fairies sometimes.
And
lots of
The
ghosts.
occasional fairy or ghost. Occasional supernatural entity.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
'Cause
what
there
that
are
would have been.
witches.
Not religious. It's definitely
Profane.
gay because,
Oh, yeah.
first of all, not just Twelfth Night, but literally every Shakespearean play that was performed when it came out was men kissing men.
Right.
Yeah, it was performed by men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's inappropriate jokes, inappropriate language, violence.
So really, Shakespeare should be banned.
Yes.
But people don't know how to read Shakespeare and actually know what it means. So they're
He-
like, no, it's beautiful.
Would he be canceled?
1,000% probably.
He'd probably cancel himself and write a play about it.
Oh my gosh, he totally would. I could see Shakespeare doing that. He would start rumors about himself. And
That would be a novel. Can we write that novel too? Who's free from writing novels? Nobody.
no one. We have seven different ideas between the three of us.
Marissa was just like, Megan, don't post
Stop
any don't post any ideas.
Stop giving writing prompts.
That's all I need. Okay, well, so before we wrap this up, why don't we talk about what books we are reading? What books are opening our eyes right now?
And whether they would be banned or not, or have been banned.
Or have been banned. Marissa, what would they be banned for? That would be it. What book are you
Ooh,
reading,
that's
and what
fun.
would your book be banned for?
Interesting. I am currently reading The Dawn of Yang Chen by FCE, which is an Avatar book about Yang Chen, the Avatar before Aang, the air Avatar before Aang. And I mean, it'd be banned for all the, well, first of all, there's some political stuff going on in it that I'm sure it'd be banned for, but also, magic and stuff, bending elements, and that's all not right.
Also diversity.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, this one hasn't been gay yet, so I'm not as into it. But,
Fingers crossed.
right.
There's still time. There's hope.
You never know. There's always a little bit gay, right?
Right.
Got to be somewhere.
Yeah, everyone's a little bit gay. All right, what about you, Megan?
I just finished earlier today The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the 4th Hunger Games, and it would be banned just because of that.
Just for all those reasons.
But it's fitting because since it's about Coriolanus Snow, the president in the Hunger Games, and how he creates his own rhetoric in his head about justifying all of these horrible things that he's doing, and then in the very end of oh well, we can't be together because she's gonna kill me first because she survived the Hunger Games, so obviously we can't. I need to come out on top. And I was just like, sir, she literally just told you she loved you. Come on. Spoiler alert, I guess. Anyway. But yeah, that would be banned for probably politics and maybe political ideation. I don't know. Child abuse.
Yeah.
And
Violence.
Yeah, violence.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely violence. There's a lot of violence in that one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just finished The Rule of the Aurora King, which is a second for the Trial of the Sun Queen, The Artifacts of Oranos, by Nisha J. Tooley. That would 5,000% be banned for sexual content. Just explicit language, violence, probably political things too, because, if you're looking into that stuff, there's always some sort of political tie thing. But yeah, the sexual content alone would definitely get that banned.
Jenna and her smut.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly, it's funny because I went into the first one and the reason I chose it was because everyone was like, this is really good. It has someone gave it like a 1.5 on the spicy scale, and I was like, okay, that's not too bad, you know, like, and I was like, so it must have a really good plot. And I'd say the first one was incredibly predictable, not a whole lot of smut, and the second one was like all the smut. And
they're like, you've been patient, you deserve a little treat.
I was like, oh, they didn't prepare me for it gets smuttier. But now I'm sitting here like, I want to read the third one, but it's not on Kindle Unlimited, so I have to actually get that one.
So on a scale of 5 peppers, how spicy is it?
Oh,
Second book.
I'd probably give it like maybe a 3. It's like on par with Court of Mist and Fury, maybe a little bit more smutty than Court of Mist and Fury. So it's definitely not as 1.5. There was like one smutty scene in the first one, although it was talked about like that. So it was very obvious that it was geared towards adult, because she was like really early on. She talks about like horrible things that she had to do in prison to survive, and it was hinted towards, but not actually a smutty scene. And then they had like one semi-smutty scene, and then the second one, it's like all the foreplay. So yeah,
there you go. So anyone who wants that,
those
is
are the
out
books
there
for you to read. Go look it up in your non-banned library.
How many peppers of your book, Marissa?
Zero.
It's a
Same
bell
in
pepper.
mine.
You know what's really funny is we just had our YA episode, and this one's technically YA because Yang Chen's 17 in it.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm
Yeah.
reading a YA book, guys.
After saying, I don't read
YA.
YA.
I'm not going to read YA. I'm just out of it now.
You should ask your boss how many spicy peppers are her mafia books.
Oh, I'm sure they're pretty
like
high up there.
5 spicy peppers.
They're like, the peppers exploded.
They're not even spicy peppers. They're like habanero hot.
I
death
don't want to know,
peppers.
because I'm sure they are, but I don't want to know because she listens to them at work.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's there doing the budgets and everything, and I'll just walk in and be like, hey, I got a question. She has to pause it. I don't want to know what I interrupt.
Was it like in 10 Things I Hate About You? Where she walks in on the guidance counselor.
I'll get you back to her quivering member. Quivering member. I like that.
And she's just like, straight face. How can I help you, Marissa?
No, my favorite part about my boss reading or listening to her mafia books is when she'll come into like my side of the office to drop off paperwork or something, just starts cackling, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, they just said something really sassy, or like they just did something really ridiculous.
We love good banter.
Yeah.
I love your boss. She's one of my favorite people, and it's just funny to like think of her in that aspect, because she's just she's very straight-faced and like no nonsense. And like every once in a while she'll like smile, but it's like a very like kind of like sarcastic, dark smile of like everyone always thought they were in like the worst trouble with her, but like me and her always had like a really good rapport.
She's very intimidating when you don't really know her that well, because she is the boss, and so like she has to do like all the important stuff. But yeah, once she's like, you get to know her, and she's just really funny.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Chill.
Yeah. But
anyways, enough about her.
Okay, guys, I really couldn't choose between two quotes to end this on, so I'm gonna read both of them because I think that this one deserves 2 quotes. So the first one is by Stephen Chbosky, who wrote the Perks of Being a Wallflower, and it said, "Banning books gives us silence when we need speech. It closes our ears when we need to listen. It makes us blind when we need sight." And the second one is by Ray Bradbury. And if you don't know who Ray Bradbury is, you've been living under a rock. He wrote for it, Fahrenheit 451. He said, "There's more than one way to burn a book, and the world is full of people running around with lit matches."
Whew. Very fitting.
Anyways, guys, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify. We are now on just about everything.
We're on everything now, yeah.
So you can find us on anywhere you find your podcasts, and tell your friends about us, tell your family about us, tell us about your favorite banned books or your books and why they would be banned. Debate me if you need to. It's okay.
I had a lot of fun, Jenna. I appreciate you.
But yeah, find us, like us, review us, subscribe. Get the word out there so that we're not, silenced in our own little corner over here.
Ooh, chef's kiss. Jenna's on fire tonight.
I'm on fire here.
like a burnt book.
Like a burnt book. Ooh. I'm lighting up the world with my fire. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us today. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.
You are going to make this the most difficult episode to edit for like 5 different reasons.
I'm so sorry.
Future Marissa's gonna bang her head against the desk editing this episode.